Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I brought you this story about facial AI recognition about 3 months ago, and boy, we just got us an update about some bounty hunters this time. Bounty hunters taking a young man basically hostage, and this story's got a really weird twist in it because the totally innocent guy with a name that was much like the guilty person was actually cutting the hair of a friend that turned out to be an informant for the police department or for the bounty hunters. So I'm going to play this video first to catch you up on what I'm doing, then you'll see the rest of the video at the end. Do not trust facial recognition, folks. Do not trust facial recognition.
Top story tonight, a Detroit woman is now suing the Detroit Police Department, alleging she was arrested after the department's facial recognition technology misidentified her as a carjacking suspect.
Portia Woodruff was 8 months pregnant at the time, and her story is once again prompting calls for DPD to stop using that technology. Our Ray Strickland has more tonight from Detroit Police Headquarters downtown.
This technology is so dangerous.
There's been only 6 reported cases in the U.S. of facial recognition technology misidentifying a suspect in a crime. 3 of those have happened right here in Detroit. The latest, a Detroit woman named Portia Woodruff, who says she was falsely arrested after the technology connected her to a carjacking case.
As many of you might know, my channel is sponsored by an AI company, and I use it a lot. You might not realize it, but I can't see. I mean, I can see my microphone, but if it's past 10 feet, I have no idea what I'm looking at, to be honest with you. Even when it's this far, I have to really look at it close. So I use AI a lot because my wife can write me beautiful scripts, like for our live show or whatever, but if I can't see it to read it, then it's no good. So a lot of times I'll use an AI voice and throw it on there. So AI has some good things, some helpful tools, but not always. See, we got now the friendly police departments and sheriff's offices and the FBI and everyone else is using facial recognition to arrest people. Well, guess what? For someone like me, and perhaps like you, it's pretty close. But pretty close doesn't stop you from being arrested. And when you're arrested, your face is put on mugshots on Facebook. You lose your job. I talk about this all the time. You lose your job. You lose your community respect. Now everybody has already commented on your picture, made fun of your mugshot. Sometimes even the sheriff's departments themselves that run the jail have made fun of your mugshot. And today we're going to discuss a little bit of AI.
A Florida man says he was wrongfully arrested after local police used AI facial recognition technology.
We're going to go to the car real quick and we're going to talk to...
In an Action News Jax investigation, Logan McDonald dug through this case of misidentification and spoke to experts about the potential risk as local police use AI to solve crimes.
Nuts. What? I wouldn't know what to tell you, G. It's not an investigation. It's all Jacksonville.
This is 51-year-old Robert Dillon, the Lee County man who was arrested last year after the Jacksonville Beach Police Department said he allegedly tried luring a 12-year-old child in Jacksonville Beach back in November of 2023.
Back in 2023, they arrested this guy in Fort Myers for a crime that they say he committed in Jacksonville Beach. And it's not just like a traffic offense. He was accused of luring a child, an 11-year-old child. You know that Facebook in that town blew up. You know he lost his job. Everything his whole life got blown apart. And it's the wrong guy. It's the wrong guy. But that's not the police's fault. You have to put your life back together. Just like when they destroy your house and it's the wrong house, they're not paying for that. You're cleaning that up. You're replacing your door. Maybe you can scare them into buying you a new door, but that's not usually happening very often. So, again, keep paying attention because this gets a lot worse.
The only problem? The police identified the wrong suspect.
I haven't been out of Fort Myers in 2 years.
According to a Jacksonville Beach police report, Dillon was linked to this suspect caught on surveillance video in a Jacksonville Beach McDonald's through the use of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office's AI facial recognition technology. Jacksonville Beach PD conferred with JSO, which provided a 93% match between Dillon and the suspect using that technology. The report says police then provided a photo spread of Dillon and other similar-looking individuals to 2 witnesses. Both identified Dillon as the suspect.
93% ain't enough. Not when they're taking your liberty, your freedom, and you're an innocent person. And they're throwing these crimes, and now every mugshot's just visible on every Facebook town page everywhere. No. People need to be sued, and his life needs to be put back together. But it gets worse. Hold on.
But the case would later be completely dropped, with the state attorney's office telling Action News Jax the arrest will be wiped from Mr. Dillon's record.
Police are not allowed under the Constitution to arrest somebody without probable cause. And this technology expressly cannot provide probable cause. It is so glitchy. It's so unreliable.
Nate Freed-Wessler is the deputy director for the American Civil Liberty Union's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project. He was part of the legal team that helped sue on behalf of Robert Williams, a Detroit man wrongfully arrested thanks to facial recognition similar to the technology used to identify Dillon. The Detroit Police Department settled that case for $300,000 in damages and implemented safeguards when using AI facial recognition in their investigations. Freed-Wessler says wrongful arrests using AI facial recognition are more common than many think, especially among people of color.
It's partly because of photo quality problems in low light situations when the cameras are trying to identify darker skinned people. In fact, in almost all of the wrongful arrest cases around the country that we know of, it's been Black people who have been incorrectly, wrongfully picked up by police.
Action News Jax reached out to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office about its use of the technology following Dillon's wrongful arrest, and we asked for examples of the successes using facial recognition technology. They responded stating, quote, "The results of such queries are not positive identifications and should only be utilized as investigative leads." However, Freed-Wessler says he doesn't believe that was the case in this Jacksonville Beach police investigation, adding that photo spreads based off a facial recognition match aren't sufficient evidence to make an arrest.
Because when this technology gets it wrong, it's going to get it wrong with a face of somebody who looks similar to the suspect. And so it's no surprise that when police juice a lineup procedure with a doppelganger, with a lookalike, a witness is going to choose an innocent person.
Now the Jacksonville Beach Police Department tells Action News Jax the investigation is still open after Dillon was cleared of any wrongdoing, adding in part, quote, "We will not be commenting on this matter beyond stating that all warrant requests are submitted to the state attorney's office. It is solely their decision whether or not to move forward with issuing a warrant."
In the real world, that's what we call passing the buck. So the cops say, well, it's not our fault. But see, the cops had to submit the warrant to the state's attorney. The state's attorney didn't submit the warrant to the police. So they had to submit it to get it signed, or either get a judge to sign it. But typically it's easier to go to the state's attorney if there's no big rush. And apparently there wasn't. So again, man, AI is a great tool if you use it properly, but if you abuse it, it's just like anything else, man. It'll bite your ass in the end.
We reached out to the state attorney's office as well. A spokesperson only confirmed Dillon was cleared of any wrongdoing. Now, Dillon's lawyer tells Action News Jax he's seeking compensation, though he and Dillon declined interview requests. Meanwhile, Courtney Barkley, an AI policy expert at Jacksonville University, says law enforcement agencies across the nation will continue to use AI and facial recognition. She outlined the need to always second guess.
Every industry is just now starting to scratch the surface of the potential of AI, how it can impact our society. Law enforcement is no exception. And so, again, we just want to be cognizant of the risks.
Jacksonville Beach Police declined our request for interview.
Of course they denied the interview. All of them are going to deny the interview because they're in trouble. But see, they don't care if they arrest the wrong person. All you got to do is watch First 48 or one of them, one of those shows, and the cops just, they're like a dog on a bone. They get someone they think that did it, and they, bam, and then they close their eyes. I'm guaranteeing you there are millions of people in jail right now that didn't do a damn thing, but the state attorney said, look, we'll only give you 5 years, or we can take it to trial and give you 50. So the guy's like, well, I don't have the money for an expensive lawyer, so I better take this 5 years, because that's only 5 years, which is a huge amount of your life that's been taken from you if you don't get killed in jail. But you've also got, there's so many implications. Your life is ruined. All it takes is one arrest. Innocent, completely innocent. They say they're gonna erase his record. This arrest will be erased from his record. I bet you every time he gets pulled over, the police run his name, it's gonna say he was arrested for luring an 11-year-old child. So don't believe none of that shit either. Excuse my language, and y'all have a good day. This is gonna be a 3-parter. The 3rd part's coming out later. Tell me what you think in the comments. Please comment. Okay, now the story I'm talking about today, actually, it happened in Richardson, Texas. 3 bounty hunters are facing kidnapping charges after mistaking a man for a suspect with a similar name and taking him into custody at a home in Richardson, Texas. One of the guys isn't even arrested yet. Now, this happened back in June. It's only gotten an update now because the affidavit said the bounty hunters were searching for a capital murder suspect and believed they had tracked the man into a garage in Richardson where he had been given a client a haircut. Well, you're going to find out, unbeknownst to anything else, after the bounty hunters drove up to the home in a U-Haul, threw a flashbang in the garage, and arrested who they thought was a suspect, according to the affidavit. The man the bounty hunters took into custody had an evading arrest charge that's being sorted out, the affidavit said. He's been checking in weekly with bail bonds, and then he just decided to stop checking in. Well, they took the wrong guy into custody. The kid is traumatized. He's a young guy. He's a man. I don't want to disrespect him like that. But the bounty hunters are going to jail for this, and you'll find out in the video that it was all on a bullshit facial recognition thing. And I'm telling you, if you're black or brown, facial recognition is not for you, folks. I'm not trying to be a smartass or stem up any race problems. I'm just telling you, I've done my research.
3 bounty hunters are facing felony charges accused of kidnapping a man they thought was a capital murder suspect.
Well, it turns out he wasn't. Fox 4's David Centenary, live tonight, spoke with a man who was pulled from his family's garage and then thrown in a U-Haul. David.
Yeah, the bounty hunters thought they had their murder suspect here in Richardson, but it turns out they had the wrong guy. The real suspect is believed to be 7,000 miles away.
They say, "What's your name?" I said, Hussein Al-Sadi.
Who is Hussein Al-Sadi, a 22-year-old aspiring barber whose family immigrated to the United States from Iraq in 2012? A more pressing question, who is he not? Well, he's not 23-year-old Hussein Al-Sadi, who federal investigators say is on the run in Iraq after cutting his ankle monitor while out on bond for capital murder by terroristic threat in Dallas.
Did you know this person at all?
No, I never met him in my life.
Never even heard of him?
Never.
Still, 3 bounty hunters now face felony charges, including kidnapping, for wrongfully apprehending Al-Sadi, thinking he was the murder suspect.
I'm a professional.
Alan Hinton, the leader of the 3 bounty hunters. We'll get back to him momentarily.
They just assumed it was me, but obviously they had the wrong guy.
Al-Sadi was cutting a client's hair inside his family's garage in Richardson on June 1st.
And that customer was a snitch, folks. Be careful who you call friend these days. Be careful who you call friends. They will turn you in for money even if it ain't you.
That's when a U-Haul van drove up. 3 black males jumped out with guns and took Al-Sadi, according to an arrest warrant affidavit.
They threw 2 stun grenades and they just started aiming AR-15s on my head and to my brother's head.
Home surveillance video motioning on only as the U-Haul drives away with Al-Sadi inside.
They said you're wanted for capital murder by terrorism. I actually started laughing because I was like, oh my God, yeah, I have the wrong person.
An arrest warrant says 3 bounty hunters working for the security firm, the clandestine group.
That's a hell of a name for a gang of bounty hunters, isn't it? That's a lot. That's kind of scary, really.
Were contracting for Brigham Home bail bonds to serve a warrant to Hussein Al-Sadi. Al-Sadi had posted a $500,000 bond through Brigham Home after being charged in a capital murder at a suspected drug operation in northwest Dallas in February 2024.
We refer to ourselves as fugitive recovery agents.
Alan Hinton and his team told Richardson police through months of intel and confidential informants, he and the Brigham Home bail bonds company thought Hussein Al-Sadi was their target. They had a 79% facial recognition match using an AI tool.
That's why everybody involved in this deserves to be in prison for the rest of their lives. 79% isn't crap. It's not, we're talking facial recognition here. It could have been this guy's twin, you know, I mean, this 79%, it's outrageous. Even the ones that are 95% that are at the beginning of this story, even those were the wrong people.
According to an arrest affidavit, when Al-Sadi maintained his innocence, the bounty hunters contacted local police.
We instantly made those calls to Richardson PD.
So when did they ultimately realize that they had the wrong person?
After the fingerprint.
Richardson police detained Al-Sadi until a detective on the FBI's task force arrived with a mobile fingerprinting device. The results showed Hussein Al-Sadi was who he said he was and was not the subject of the warrant.
Everybody surrounded me in a circle, just waiting for the results.
Yeah.
And obviously after the results, the officer told them, yeah, this is not him. And that's when you just see them get back in the U-Haul truck and then just drive off.
A Richardson police detective spoke with the Dallas County District Attorney's Office and U.S. Marshals, both advising the detective that the capital murder suspect fled to Iraq after breaking an ankle monitor in August 2024. The U.S. Marshals say no one from Brigham Home bail bonds reached out regarding the case, and if they had, Marshals would have said this Al-Sadi was the wrong guy.
I would just hope they actually check their information before they go do that and traumatize a family.
Hinton says Brigham Home bail bonds provided background information on the suspect, and with that information and additional research, his team identified this Al-Sadi. Hinton says he's not a criminal.
It's just not who I am.
Just someone trying to make a living while doing a community service.
And I do believe right now law enforcement is overworked, and I do believe in having positive interactions with law enforcement and being able to assist them. You know, I do a hard job, and without qualified immunity, it makes things a lot harder for us.
Did you hear that shit? Did you hear that? We don't even want the cops to have qualified immunity. And this guy, a bail bondsman, who already just destroyed a man's life almost, off of a 79% facial recognition, well, we don't have qualified immunity. Good. Good. You don't deserve qualified immunity. And cops don't need your help. Cops need better protocol and no qualified immunity. Zero qualified immunity for cops. Never, ever.
Hinton's attorney says his client was just doing his job.
My client has no criminal history at all. He was executing this warrant based on the law that's out there.
Al-Sadi's attorney says that job comes with heavy responsibility.
And that cannot be taken lightly and cannot be callously, oops, I got the wrong guy.
Al-Sadi says the encounter makes him think of his father.
I saw tears coming out of his eyes.
He says his family left Iraq after 2 of his uncles were kidnapped and killed. His father wanting safety for his family.
I feel like I'm gonna cry because my dad already been through a lot. Sorry.
While thinking of what could have happened to his father, mother, brother, and special needs sister had the encounter at their home been worse, Al-Sadi too emotional to finish our interview.
If we could take a minute, please.
So we've reached out to Brigham Home Bail Bonds Company several times since we began looking into this story, and at this point in time, they have declined all of our requests for comment or any sort of on-camera interview. We will let you know if things change. Now, the name Devon Allard Carter, he is one of the 3 bounty hunters who is also charged. The 3rd suspect still on the run, according to Richardson Police Department. Lastly, we mentioned that Hussein was giving a haircut to a client in his garage when all this went down. If you're wondering what happened to that client, well, according to police documents, it turns out that client was an undercover informant working for those bounty hunters. Steve and Heather, back to y'all.
It's a twist. All right.
Right.
All right, David Centendry, thank you.
What's important to know here is on the part 3 of this facial recognition thing, there's a black lady that studied it for MIT. Now, we're not talking about the University of Florida. We're talking about MIT. The University of Florida is a good school. I went there. She went overseas, I think, to Japan to further study AI facial technology. And she had to do an experiment, and I'm going to find that, and that's what I'm going to end this video with now, just a part of the troubles that this black lady had with facial recognition. And I point out that she's a black lady because it's important to point out in this story.
Let me show you what I mean. Hi, camera. I've got a face. Can you see my face? No glasses face? You can see her face. What about my face? Well, I've got a mask. Can you see my mask? So how did this happen? Why am I sitting in front of a computer in a white mask trying to be detected by a cheap webcam?
Here that she is not in any way trying to say there's a racial bias. That's not what she's doing. She's trying to say that there's a flaw in the system. And that's why facial recognition does not work. It doesn't work. They try to tell you it works, but at the bottom of, even if you go to ChatGPT or Grok, it says AI makes mistakes, so double check your work. They arrested this kid with flash bombs on 79% recognition. 79%.
Well, when I'm not fighting the coded gaze as a poet of code, I'm a graduate student at the MIT Media Lab. And there I have the opportunity to work on all sorts of whimsical projects, including the Aspire Mirror, a project I did so I could project digital masks onto my reflection. So in the morning, if I wanted to feel powerful, I could put on a lion. If I wanted to be uplifted, I might have a quote. So I used generic facial recognition software to build the system, but found that it was really hard to test it unless if I wore a white mask. Unfortunately, I've run into this issue before. When I was an undergraduate at Georgia Tech studying computer science, I used to work on social robots, and one of my tasks was to get a robot to play peekaboo, a simple turn-taking game where partners cover their face and then uncover it saying peekaboo. The problem is peekaboo doesn't really work if I can't see you, and my robot couldn't see me. But I borrowed my roommate's face to get the project done, submitted the assignment, and figured, you know what, somebody else will solve this problem. Not too long after, I was in Hong Kong for an entrepreneurship competition. The organizers decided to take participants on a tour of local startups. One of the startups had a social robot, and they decided to do a demo. The demo worked on everybody until it got to me, and you can probably guess it. It couldn't detect my face.
As I said, this story is developing just as I'm doing this video, and I have a lot more for the part 3. But this story just broke, and it's important that we remember I'm not against AI. Sometimes I have to use it to help me read. And my vision is so bad that I need those little tools. However, the tools I use don't get people falsely arrested. and ruin people's lives. And the one lady in that story was ready to have a baby. It's just not worth it, people. Hey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. I'm great at taking corrective criticism, and so give me pointers if you have time. And again, let me know what you think about this in the comments, because I think this is an important story. I think they're all important stories.